these two fighters. And you can see that Littles is slightly the rangier of the two, although James Toney, a little bit surprisingly, has a 4-inch reach advantage. In the past, he used to struggle to make 160 pounds. Here he weighed in 1/4 pound under the 168-pound limit, which gives him a 1 1/4 pound weight advantage over Littles. Punch stat numbers, Larry.
Here are the profiles of how active these fighters are. And while Toney is obviously the much more accurate puncher, the more economical puncher, all those punches that Littles throws, he hopes will help him defensively tonight by keeping Toney blocking the punches. And that again is reflected in the number of jabs that Littles throws. It's for him a defensive as well as an offensive weapon.
Rules of the bout with our unofficial ringside scorer, Harold Letterman.
James Toney and Tim Littles will box tonight using the rules of the International Boxing Federation. 12 rounds. There is no standing 8 count, no 3 knockdown rule. You cannot be saved by the bell in any round, including the last round. The referee or the doctor can stop the fight, and in case a cut is caused by an accidental headbutt, and that cut causes the fight to be stopped, we go to the scorecards after 6 rounds have been completed. Before that, it's a technical draw. Jim.
All right now let's go up to the ring announcer, Michael Buffer, for the pre-fight introductions.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening, and welcome to the grand reopening of the Grand Auditorium, the Grand Olympic Auditorium here in the City of Angels, Los Angeles, California, where tonight Bob Arum's Top Rank Incorporated, along with the undisputed, undefeated King of Beers, Budweiser, proud to be your bud, presents World Professional Championship Wrestling, boxing for your entertainment. This bout is sanctioned by the International Boxing Federation, along with the California State Athletic Commission. California Chairman William Eastman, Vice Chairman Willie Buchanan, Commissioners in attendance at ringside Kim Welshans, Jerry Nathanson, and former welterweight champion Carlos Palomino. Executive Director Richard DeCure. Physicians at ringside Dr. Robert Carnes, Dr. Perlman Hicks, and Dr. Adam Carnes. The timekeeper is Debbie Garcia. IBF Supervisor ringside Marion Mohammed. The scoring for this bout will be done on a 10-point must system, and the 3 judges assigned will be Gary Merritt, Paul Weitzel, and Fritz Werner. And when the bell rings, the man in charge of the action, referee Pat Russell. And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the Grand Olympic Auditorium, here in Los Angeles, California, for the first of 2 world title bouts, let's get ready to rumble! 12 rounds of boxing for the IBF Super Middleweight Championship of the World. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing the aqua trunks with black stripes, weighing in at 166 1/2 pounds. He comes to us from Flint, Michigan. His professional record, undefeated, 24-0, 15 KOs. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing the challenger and #1 ranked super middleweight in the world, Doctor of Style, Tim Littles. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the red corner, wearing the black trunks with red trim, weighing in at 167 3/4 pounds. He's fighting out of Ann Arbor, Michigan. He also is undefeated. On his way to 2 times a world champion, he's 41-0, 2 draws, 27 KOs. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting the IBF Super Middleweight Champion of the World, James Lights Out Toney.
James, Tim, any instructions? We've covered all situations and the rules. Do you have any questions for me? Do you have any questions? 12 rounds championship fight. Let's go.
In the last 4 months, Jim, Riddick Bowe, Terry Norris, Julio Cesar Chavez, Michael Carbajal, some of the biggest names in boxing have all lost their titles. Can James Toney hold on to his?
The primary strategy confrontation here. Toney is often accused of being lazy and fighting only in spurts. It is said of Toney he only fights 1 out of every 3 minutes in most rounds. Virtually all of Toney's opponents have said, I'm going to pressure him, I'm going to make him fight every minute of every round, I'm going to wear him out. Littles said it yesterday. No one has succeeded yet.
Best thing for Little is to stay relaxed. He started off relaxed, not trying to land his punches with too much power, but just keep the points coming.
Littles is known to be a busy fighter, but he connects on a low percentage of his punches. And Toney is hard to hit, one of the toughest targets to find in the sport.
One of his defects, Toney's, he'll land one good body punch and wait to see if it hurt. You can lose a lot of rounds waiting for quicker hand fighters like Little.
It's called admiring your work, and lots of fighters do it, right, George?
That's what you do. And he's a puncher. He's been in with bigger guys the last few months. That's not going to help him.
Toney often at his best against an attacking opponent who'll give him a chance to counterpunch. I personally don't believe that Tim Littles is going to be able to be the attacker here.
There's no way. There's too much power and strength in Toney's shoulder. Once you bump into those shoulders a couple of times, you automatically decide to move backwards.
Littles cautious so far in round one, sticking mostly with the jab. Toney waiting for an opening and, as is typical, resting from time to time.
And Toney has to be careful. Once Little touches him 2 times, he's got to go out and touch him 3 more times. You just can't be behind on punching.
In a couple of his fights, Tim Littles has averaged more than 100 punches per round. His output here in round one will not approach that.
That was a good body punch by James Toney, but he still waited to see, did it hurt? Another good body puncher right to the body by Toney.
In his last appearance here on HBO in the undercard of Morrison Bent in Tulsa, Oklahoma, October 29, Toney said that he could tell in the first round against Toney the punching postman Thornton that he wasn't going to be able to knock him out and would have to settle for a decision. Wonder what he's thinking of Littles right now.
Yeah. At some point in your life, you got to realize that you got to slow down the power and just get accurate, land more punches. Don't try to knock everybody out.
Tim Littles opening up a little bit there and throwing a couple of overhand rights. He has a tendency, when pressured, to slap with his punches. We haven't seen that yet here. Good jab.
Little is pretty good. He keeps his body moving left, right, left, right. Never, that head and shoulders never in one spot long enough.
Primary voice in James Toney's corner is trainer Bill Miller.
Good first round. All right. Eventually, if we can get this guy to lead a little more, we can pound on especially them right hands. Once we can take the right hand away from him and the left hook. In the meantime, this is the key. We pop him with that jab. That was a good first round. Not too.
Boxing beautiful out there. Same thing we're doing. Keep it going. Just found your range a little more. What you're doing is beautiful out there. Doing the same damn thing. Okay, baby? Beautiful.
This guy got nothing for you, Bill. All right, baby. Keep the jab going. Get it in that chest and that ball. Come on, baby.
Round two approaching. James Toney threw only 18 jabs in round one to 47 jabs thrown by Tim Littles. So Littles trying to set the pace, be the busier fighter, and perhaps get ahead on the scorecards early.
Toney's strategy, land a lot of body punches. That's good if you're going to look for a knockout in a lot of rounds. But if you want to keep up on points with an experienced fighter, you got to have more points also.
Toney loves to talk big. He promised us a knockout yesterday. It's not the first time that he's done that. Lands a right hand over the top. Littles reaching with the jab. James Toney, a very patient fighter.
He was able to land a good straight right hand, Toney was this time. This may give him a little added and maybe too much confidence too early.
Body punching by Tim Littles, a good idea. Right hand by Littles, right on the button.
Sometimes you just don't think that a guy is #1 contender because he's sending out envelopes. Sometimes they're good fighters, and Little is nothing to play with.
Hey, you got to respect this guy. He's a sensational looking athlete, if nothing else.
Toney may be saying, I've been in with bigger guys. I've been hit harder. Believe me, little guys can knock you out.
Right hand by Toney in the counter situation there. Landed flush. And James dances a little bit to celebrate.
Little is starting to go too high on top with his right hand. Toney's coming under.
Too high and too wide. He's got a tendency to wing his punches sometimes, George, and it's already starting.
But believe me, Toney has tasted some power there, so he's going to respect him a lot more than you would think.
But if there's one thing James Toney has shown in the past, particularly in his best performance against Iran Barkley, you go wide with your punches and he'll come up the middle and hurt you.
That's true. Toney is trying everything to roll the right hand and come back with a left, roll the left hook, right hand and come back with his right hand of his own. If Little is able to throw that right hand and hook behind it, he can drop Toney.
Another solid right inside by Toney as they exchange punches in the middle of the ring there. Little's wobbled for just a second.
Good body punch, square in the middle of the stomach. This is something that normally doesn't happen until the latter round. Toney is landing good body punches too early in this fight to make you think it's going to go for a long time.
Another counter right by Toney. Littles is leaving the left hand out there, and James is coming over the top of it. Now there's a left by Littles.
Okay, you see, you can counter his right hand. All I want is pick up the left hand a little more with them jabs. Pick up them jabs a little more. Them stiff jabs. Pick it up, but you can counter his right hand. When you make him miss, you make him pay.
There's that big right hand that lifted Toney off one leg early in the round. Toney has a habit of ducking away from the right hand and trying to ride it out, but Little's got there before the ride started.
The jab.
James, watch your heads inside.
Allow me, sir. All right. Watch, keep that stiff hand, left hand going all the time.
Biggest surprise so far from our punch stat computations. First two rounds, Tim Little's landed 49% of his power shots. So Toney, normally hard to hit, has been more open than he'd like to be tonight.
Mainly because he's been fighting bigger guys who he's been quicker than. This time, he's going to be the short end on the stick. He's not as fast as Little.
Counter right inside by Toney again. Littles has to be careful to get that left hand back after he throws the jab.
Not only that, Little is starting to get a little flat-footed. He should keep his movement a little bit more into his shoulders.
Jabs by Littles. That time Toney countered with an uppercut. Landed again. So accurate with his counter punching, George.
Yeah, and he throws his jab and keeps it in position to automatically cover himself up afterwards, Toney.
Little's kind of half-hearted with the right to the body there. Should have committed more to the punch.
Little at this point is starting more to protect himself more than going out there to take a title from someone. Toney still has the same strategy, waiting for a weak right hand to counter it with. Came awful close to getting that right hand in.
You get the impression Toney is happy to throw one punch to Little's three as long as it's the right punch at the right time.
Yeah, and that, and that's kind of critical because judges sometimes don't understand power. They don't know that Toney's punches hurt more than Little.
Good point. When in doubt, most judges will err on the side of the busier fighter, right?
That's true. Toney is trying to counter punch at this point when he should be building up a point system. He's gotten his power punches in now.
Both fighters landing there. Little's still showing an ability to be accurate with power shots. Littles. Toney thinks he has him in trouble. Opens up just a little bit. Plenty of time left in round 3.
Little right hand for the first time went behind Toney's left shoulder, which is showing that Toney has got his timing perfectly down now.
Tim Littles is losing his legs here in round 3. James Toney's got him in trouble. 37 seconds left in which to try to do some damage. Littles in serious trouble now. Toney trying to choose his shots, and down goes the doctor.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Clear up on me, Timmy. 8. How we doing? Give me your hands. All right? Let's go.
He doesn't know where Toney is.
First time Tim Littles has ever tasted canvas in his professional career. This is his 25th fight. He's in serious trouble now as Toney tries to finish. Littles can't be saved by the bell. He's going to make it out of the round.
That was Toney at his best.
And he's bleeding.
When you get close to the guy, Tim, you grab him and tie this
Toney has been cut.
I think he might have caught some skull in there.
That's a very, very bad cut over the eye. He's going to have to go out and try to end this fight as fast as he can.
That is almost certainly a headbutt cut, Larry.
There you saw where Toney started that rally in the middle of the round that took him to the close. We'll have to see if we can catch where the butt or the punch came. In California, they can take a timeout and bring the doctor in, which they are right now. It is not beyond the realm of possibility that this fight could be stopped.
If they can't stop it after that round.
In which case, I believe it would be a technical draw. I'm not 100% sure.
Harold Letterman.
Jim, the rule is this. If the fight is stopped and the referee says that the cut was caused by a punch, Tim Littles wins on a TKO. If he says it was caused by a headbutt, it's a technical draw.
Let's hope referee Pat Russell knows and is secure in his own mind as to exactly where that cut came from. I think it had to be a headbutt, but I don't want to leap to too many conclusions. Littles goes down again.
This is highly dramatic, Jim. This is very dramatic stuff. That cut is so bad, I can't imagine the fight going on very much longer for Toney.
I totally agree.
I can't imagine Lou Duva allowing his fighter to get caught with so many hard shots this early in his career.
Look at the purposefulness of James Toney as he once again puts Littles down. It's got to be scored a knockdown, and it will be.
6, 7. Hey, how are you? All right.
And remember, there is no 3 knockdown rule in effect for this title bout. So Littles can go down again without being automatically eliminated. Oh, there's a solid right hand, and I think the referee's got to stop it right now, and he does.
A great performance by James Toney. It's reminiscent of the historic performance by Sugar Ray Leonard, by Sugar Ray Robinson, excuse me, way back when he was cut late in the fight and had to go out and knock out and score a knockout to win.
This came about
Against Randy Turpin.
Toney knew that if this fight goes 12 rounds, the probabilities could be against him. He knew a knockout was his best bet tonight, and he got it.
Tremendous drama as an unbeaten champion. The one unbeaten champion with the most fights and the most victories of any of the 13 currently active in the sport found himself bleeding badly from a deep cut over his left eye, desperately in need of a knockout, and produced it almost on demand.
For the first time, there was no lazy Toney. This was pure boxer, fighter.
There were 3 knockdowns in this round. Let's take a look now at each one of the 3 knockdowns. And George, you tell us what James was doing.
Right now, he's gotten time and he's gotten behind and throwing those right hands because he knows this guy's not accurate anymore with his counter punching. Good right hand drops him, going under, and now trying for the finish.
The uppercut there landed on the point of the chin. Down went Littles. That was the second knockdown. Now here's the third.
You try to hold on, but this time Toney knows, look, I cannot go another round and try to wait and finish this guy. It's got to happen now. I'm not going to quit. I got to keep throwing punches until he hits the canvas. If I don't, they can stop this fight because of this cut.
There was a solid right there against the ropes, which was the punch that convinced Pat Russell to stop the fight. Now we're going to see where the cut came from, and there it was. It was a headbutt. You saw their two heads bashed together there, and it was from that point forward that Toney was in serious trouble with the blood streaming from above his left eye. Look at that cut, George.
And for the first time, Toney will have to take a long rest to heal. So his activity will slow down a bit now. Sometimes it's for the best. You go out and give your best, take a rest, go to Europe.
That's a great point. This guy has been, as Larry Merchant pointed out before the fight, the most active of all champions, fighting on an average of once every 2 months or so. Much more active than other title holders in the sport, and now a little enforced R&R is in order. And right now, let's go up to ring announcer Michael Buffer for the official particulars.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Pat Russell calls a halt to the bout. The official time, 1 minute and 3 seconds of round number 4. The winner by technical knockout, and still the undefeated IBF super middleweight champion of the world, James Lights Out Toney.
Final punch stat numbers, and you will see that Toney turned the tables in the last round and a half, winding up with a 48% connect percentage to only 27% for Tim Littles. Littles barely landed a punch in those last minutes of the fight, only landing the serious headbutt that cut Toney above the eye, and James landed power shot after power shot to put his man down and out. Larry Merchant compared it to Sugar Ray Robinson's dramatic comeback decades ago against Randy Turpin. Right now, Larry stands by with the champion in the ring.
James, congratulations. That was a wonderful performance. Were you aware of how bad the cut over your eye is?
No, I didn't. Oh, Lord have mercy. Well, I didn't know how bad the cut was. The only thing I know, when I came back to the corner, Bill was like, we got to stop this guy right now. Can't take no more chances. I'm like, oh, man, when I seen the blood running now, I seen red, that means he has to die. And you see what happened to him. Everybody back in Flint, I told you, he's a bum. I beat everybody out there. Can't nobody mess with me. Hey, Kevin, get well, baby, I love you.
James, have you ever been cut like that? How did you know how to respond?
I've been cut, baby. I've been cut before. Same thing, headbutt by Reggie Johnson, and I got up and whipped him up. So, you know.
So you knew it was a headbutt?
Yeah, it was a headbutt.
Now, the doctor told me that he was very close to calling off the fight. Why don't you describe what's happening here?
Right now, this is the last round, right?
Yeah.
Well, right now I knew I had to get him out of there, so I stepped on him. I wasn't taking no chances. Over that right hand right there, had his legs on shaky ground. He's trying to hold on for dear life. And he threw a little desperation punch right there. He's in the land.
Well, that's where the butt came in. I'm sorry. I guess that was the third round. My mistake, James. But did the doctor say anything to you in the corner?
Yeah, he said, we won't give him one more round. I said, oh, hell no, they can't take it away from me like this. I'm going out there to get him. If I see my blood, that means the guy got to die.
So you knew that you had this one round to finish your business?
And I was going to go do it, and I did.
Well, that's rare and unusual and quite wonderful and a memorable fight. What are your thoughts now about the future, James?
Well, I think I proved out there I'm the best fighter pound for pound in the world today. You know, I did something to everybody. Julio Cesar Chavez, Terry Norris, Michael Nunn. They can't be like me. They want to be, but they ain't me.
Who do you want to fight in the future?
I'll fight anybody. Roy Jones, whoever. I'm the best. I'll take on all comers.
I don't think you have too many challengers out there saying that you're not the best.
Anybody. Come on, I'm the man. I'm the man.
Thank you, James.
I'm the man.
Back to you, Jim.
I love
George.
you, baby.
I don't think anybody's going to argue with him. Just to clarify and confirm, I don't know whether Larry has given you this information. Referee Pat Russell assured our Harold Letterman that he had already determined that the cut was the product of a head, but had he been forced to stop the fight, James Toney would not have been in danger of losing for the first time in his career. We'll take one more look at the sequence of events which brought an end to the fight. It was that right-hand punch which left Littles almost unconscious, setting up the left hand there. Russell stopping the fight before Littles had even tasted the canvas for the last time. George Foreman, you said before the fight that you agree with Toney. He may be better than Pernell Whitaker, as good as Pernell Whitaker.